So yeah, I'd like to actually pick up right where Kathy left off with, okay, uh, we need to better understand how are we going to go about defining success in the tourism industry, and how do we more in a holistic fashion, more Jackson holistic fashion, uh, be able to measure our performance as a community that's got a travel and tourism based economy. So my answer to the four questions, Jonathan, is it depends on how tourism is measured. I think in general, most people can agree more is not better. Peter Drucker, who some of you may know is the leader of modern management, said if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And before I go into a quick survey of key performance indicators and different tools for measuring tourism performance with those holistic indicators, I'd like to offer a few definitions, because we oftentimes talk about a subject, but we don't really come to a consensus on what is the definition of, in this case, sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism is tourism that leads to the management of all resources in such a way that economic, social, and aesthetic needs can be fulfilled while maintaining the cultural integrity, essential ecological processes, biological diversity, and life support systems. That's from the UN World Tourism Association. And then the Center for Responsible Travel defines responsible tourism in the same way. It talks about the triple bottom line, about benefits to local communities, minimizing negative social and environmental impacts, and then helping people conserve fragile cultures and habitats or species. In fact, the very reasons why people come to visit places like Jackson Hole. And perhaps we ought to be looking at our tourism industry in the framework of the 4 Cs and ask ourselves the following question: how can tourism be managed to support our conservation, community and cultural goals, interests, and challenges, as well as our commercial ones, if we are going to be really looking holistically at the tourism industry in the future? Our current tourism key performance indicators typically are economic ones. This is from the Jacksonville Travel and Tourism Board annual report from 2020, where we have indicators for visitation, whether it's national park recreational visits, skier days, and employments. In the economic side, visitor spending, jobs created, sales and use tax, and lodging tax generated. Of course, those last two help support our infrastructure and services. These sustainable tourism key performance indicators come from a publication called Coping with Success: Managing Overcrowding in Tourism from the World Travel and Tourism Council. It's sort of their form of a tourism thermometer or barometer on how well a destination is doing relative to the more holistic set of performance indicators. And as you can see, they're measuring the environmental aspects in terms of damage to nature, the cultural aspects and historic heritage aspects in terms of threats. Also, they want to have destinations look at visitor experience, and is the visitor experience being supported or degraded? Same with the quality of life of residents. And then, of course, importantly for all of us is what is the impacts and contributions of tourism to our infrastructure and services. And services and infrastructure, all those things include things like workforce housing, includes public health and safety considerations such as pandemics. So that's an example that comes from another publication. And Kathy referred to this, The Invisible Burden of Tourism. That's from the Epler-Wood Foundation, Cornell University, and the Travel Foundation. This is a bit more busy to look at, but essentially they're saying we need to look at the economic, environmental, social, as well as the management aspects of tourism to be able to understand how well the tourism economy is performing to help us meet our goals, whether our goals are economic, in one of the 4 Cs, essentially. EarthCheck, we actually received destination certification from EarthCheck in March of 2020. It was a year-long process in 2019. that my organization led with many, many different organizations and businesses in the community. And our performance was measured against 266 performance indicators across what you see in these 12 key performance areas. And as you scan down these key performance areas, you'll see that we are talking again about environmental management and conservation related indicators. We are also talking about economic indicators. We are also talking about cultural, social management indicators, as well as just general destination management indicators. And then the Haub School of the Environment and Natural Resources in the University of Wyoming did a study for our community through my organization to come up with a set of recommendations for criteria and indicators that can help us here in Jackson Hole to measure our performance as a sustainable destination, or as a destination that has aspirations to be sustainable. And again, you can see in the 5 slices of pie, we're talking about environmental indicators. We're also talking about community and cultural and historic ones. We're also talking about economic ones. We are also talking about, most importantly, is management. How do you manage and integrate the environmental, community, cultural, and economic aspects of tourism and performance measures? And of course, then they had some things relative to just Jackson Hole for our consideration as well. So that's a kind of a quick survey, minding the time that we have available, that we do have, to answer the question, do we have performance metrics that are examples from other communities, from other parts of the globe, that we can look at as models for how we go about measuring our tourism in a holistic way, not just based on economic terms, but also environmental and social terms? The answer is absolutely yes. Do we have data that supports measurement of our performance as a tourism economy and sustainability overall? Yes, we do, through the EarthCheck process. My team and I and all of our partners have created what is now the most comprehensive, diverse set of data and documentation on sustainability that our community's ever had. And it's a good basis from which to be able to take a good hard look at how well are we performing against these different kinds of categories of performance indicators. In conclusion, we really do need to expand our current tourism KPIs to include environmental, social, and destination management ones, along with our economic ones. We really do, and this is, I think, a theme that's been basically hit upon a number of times, is we need to do research. We really need to establish a valid and reliable research basis and mechanism, and a budget to support it, to collect key performance indicator data and to support decision-making as well. That cannot be underfunded. And we've been basically operating with not enough facts. And so we do need to go about establishing facts that help us perhaps adjust our perceptions on where are we as a destination in these categories of key performance. We need to create a destination management plan. The Travel and Tourism Board is embarking on a process to lead our community with the help of the contractor selected to create a destination management plan, and that ideally this destination management plan will reflect the goals of our community across the different areas of tourism and overall, including conservation, essentially the 4 C's. It will include strategies, actions, and key performance indicators, ideally that are the result of an engagement process that involves government at all levels, nonprofits, our businesses, our residents, and our visitors. A comment was made earlier that we need to be able to understand what our residents' sentiments are about tourism. We need to understand our visitors' perception of their experience. Those surveys will, I understand, will be part of the process of creating a destination management plan. And then very, very importantly, looking longer term, but not that much longer term, we need to create a destination stewardship council, AKA a destination marketing and management organization that is comprised of representatives of the diverse interests of our community, including the environmental, social, economic, and management interests of our community. When I say community, we're all part of the community, whether you work for the federal government or local government or state, or whether you're in the private sector. We need a DMMO that will facilitate the coordination of all these stakeholders, because truly destination management is about collaboration. It's not about representing the interests of a specific part of our community and destination, and that this DMMO will oversee and guide the implementation and the maintenance of the destination management plan, essentially be the entity that ensures that our community's interests are being represented, and our community's values are being represented by what's being implemented in the destination management plan. And then really importantly, the destination management is much, much more than just managing marketing and communications. It's managing much, much more, including what the national parks, national forests, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the state of Wyoming, our local government, and many others are responsible for managing, hopefully in harmony between the interest of visitors and the interest of residents, and also harmony of the interest of our conservationists and all those who see our public lands as an opportunity to recreate. So with that, thank you.